call the Board of Education for Tuesday, October the 20th.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first on the agenda is the approval of the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda October 20th, 2015 regular meeting as presented.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next is the approval of the consent agenda items.
Move to approve the consent agenda items as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have public participation. Moving right on to the report of the superintendent, Dr. Lindsay.
I'm going to kind of jump around a little bit in the report of the superintendent, so going in order. There are some notes of appreciation that you received in your board packet. I want to jump down to the enrollment piece. The last Wednesday in September, enrollment for the current school year, we had 1,862 students, which compares to 1,860 the previous year. You might remember that last year was an increase of about 20 students on our September enrollment number, which really there have been quite a downward trend in the district for quite some time. So I think it's good news that we're basically holding steady then with that little bump up that we received in the number of students last year. In your board packet, there's information that goes back and shows enrollment numbers all the way back to the 98-99 school year. And as you can see, there's been a significant decrease in our overall enrollment here at St. John R2, as well as with the non-publics that are within our school district. So, I think that's just an indication of a smaller school age population. Over that period of time, our enrollment has decreased in total of a little less than 15% since the 98-99 school year. So, any questions or anything on the enrollment piece?
How's that, you compare that to county, as population of county or anything?
Yeah, we had a discussion at a meeting today about county population, not really in relation to this, but overall, the county population is pretty well holding steady. That's kind of the information that we have, as is city population.
It's not going anywhere either.
So what that may mean is that the population is a little older than what it once was. So fewer school-age children available to go to public school or non-public school as far as that goes. Anything else? It'll be interesting to see how our January enrollment number is, because if you look back historically, sometimes the January number is significantly different than the September number. Typically, it's fewer students. Last year we went down 16, but the year before that we went down 40 students between September and January. So it'll be interesting to see if those enrollment numbers hold.
Where did they go? They just transfer?
Transfer. You probably, well, no, you probably wouldn't, but you might be amazed at the number of kids that come in and out and go back out and come back in all in one year. There's a significant transient population with our students. And
There could be some.
they'll go from us to Perryville to Festus to Farmington.
There could be some graduates too, not that many, maybe.
Sure, that affects it as well. If you have a small class graduate and a large class come in, then that certainly affects that number as well. And we've had a couple fairly good sized classes the last 2 years in kindergarten. first grade classes both. Anything else on enrollment? I wanted to provide some information on the bond issue. I don't know if you've been out to the ball fields recently. The artificial turf is in on Yanks on the baseball field. I've been told that they anticipate beginning with the sod probably this weekend. So that will go in fairly quickly. We're working with Citizens Electric on some electrical issues and getting a pole moved or maybe going underground, but part of it we're still kind of figuring out what might be the best option and what might make the most sense long term for that. We're also working with the county on some drainage issues out there. With that spring, and then there was a water hydrant, I think that was leaking as well. The water hydrant's been fixed. The spring's not pumping out any water, but when we do get a large amount of rain, there's a significant drainage issue up there. So we're working with the county on a long-term solution that won't have to be addressed frequently, kind of like it has been up to this point. So that's in the works. Library update, we have some visits planned. I know that the staff and Ms. Toombs have already looked at some different library facilities, and I went and looked at a facility myself, and there's some more visits that they're planning to get some ideas, and then we have a meeting with KRJ planned for the end of the month, where we're going to sit down and really try to get something a little more solid in place as far as the direction that we think that we want to go. We know that we definitely want it to be more of a library media center as opposed to just a library. And so technology in a variety of ways into the library in such a way that our students will be excited to come to the library and use the technology, and we'll be able to learn from it, and it will help prepare them both for employment after graduation or post-secondary training or college. So we're really excited about that project and what we're going to be able to do, and we're still kind of gathering some of the information that goes with that. We have a bid package, window bid package that's been out there for a while. We've had to revise the date on that a couple times. So we'll actually get those bids in the office on the 29th. So that should be an agenda item at the November board meeting for the Board of Education. They are also working on the Bloomsdale elementary bid package that should go out sometime in November, hopefully for action in December by the board. And then the St. John campus package, probably December, January, with board action January, February. Our hope is to get all the bid packages out there, figure out what it is that we're going to do, and hopefully have most of the work completed by the end of this coming summer. That's the plan, is to try to make all this happen within that time frame. So there's still a lot to be done. There's still a lot of information that goes into those bid packages before they go out to make sure that we're complying with all the laws and facilities are safe and those kinds of things. So I know that the architect's been working really hard on that, and so we may be a little bit behind schedule as far as when the packages are going out, but I think it's all going to kind of come together. So, any questions on bond issue kinds of things that are going on at this point? Okay. Julie's going to do safety reports, we're kind of sitting among greatness here. I didn't know, I want to make sure that everyone knew that we had a statewide finalist for the Paul Morris Community Service Award, and that was our own board president, Martha Reesinger. She was recognized as one of 3 finalists in the state of Missouri, the recent Missouri School Board Association conference. And yeah, there's a glossy photo in there with her picture in there, and all of her community service kinds of things. And I won't read the whole thing, but I will just mention kind of a list of some of the things that she's involved in. Of course, she's on the Board of Education here and serves as president, but she's also on the Missouri School Board Association Board of Directors. She's on their governance committee. She's on their nomination committee. She's on the St. Genevieve High School A+ Advisory Committee, the St. Genevieve R2 Meet and Confer Committee, the St. Genevieve R2 Wellness Committee, the Missouri Preschool Program Grant Advisory Committee, the District Junior Achievement, County Fair Board. She has been an alderwoman for the city of St. Genevieve, Make-A-Wish Foundation volunteer, Salvation Army volunteer, American Red Cross volunteer, and the St. Genevieve County Memorial Hospital Auxiliary, just to name some of the activities that Mrs. Reese participated in. So she was recognized up on the stage, and well deserved. No doubt about that. So congratulations to Martha Reese.
Thank you for the nomination, guys. It meant a lot, and I knew the guy, so that even made it more special. But, you know, I don't do this for any award following. It's all because of our students. I love kids. Whatever I can do to help them, that's what I want to be a part of. So, thank you, guys.
Are we doing principal reports or safety report first?
Doesn't matter, I have to do that.
Okay, principal, take your pick, whichever you would like.
Do the principals report? Do you want me to go first?
Oh, we didn't know, we were asking where high school.
Well, I'm high school. What's that? I am going to do the high school report tonight because Mr. Haney, Mr. Nix, Mr. Mercer are all at district volleyball, cheering on our girls. It's a very exciting time. Say that again? They just won. That's
The
awesome.
semifinal game?
I wanted to check, but I left my phone. So that's awesome. So, you know, a lot of excitement in volleyball and football and cross country and everything our kids are doing right now. So St. Genevieve High School would like to congratulate the following: Miss Natalie Engel and Mr. Leland Hook for the 2015 Homecoming Queen and King that was bestowed upon them. They would also like to congratulate the freshman class, which is the class of 2019, and their sponsors, Mrs. Jamie Bowman and Mrs. Carrie Staffen, for their winning float. They would like to congratulate the senior girls for their 2016 Powder Puff Championship. Stu Coe, Mrs. Reed, Mrs. Nikki Reed, and Mr. Kyle Schweiss for doing an excellent job hosting Homecoming 2015. Boys and girls cross-country teams, and Coach Jett, Coach Werner, and Coach Boyd for earning 2015 conference championships with individual championships going to Ben Naggart and Taylor Werner. Madison DeRouche and Megan Selby for qualifying for sectionals golf, girls golf, and to Madison DeRouche for her 20th place finish at the state girls golf championship. So she did a great job. The St. Genevieve High School Marching Band for an outstanding year. The band placed second at the Farmington Marching Competition, first place at Fox High School, second place at Charleston in the Southeast Missouri Bandmasters Association Marching Festival, and all 3 times winning Outstanding Music and Outstanding Percussion Awards. Great work by Mr. Mooney, Mr. Kingery, and Mrs. Kingery. They will now host the St. Genevieve Marching Festival here this Saturday on October 24th. We're all very excited. That's a huge event and takes a lot of people to make it happen. So it's a great thing to see if you've never seen one of those. Congratulations to girls volleyball and Coach Hess, Coach Kester, Coach Huffman for their conference tournament championship.
Congratulations to the automotive students at St. Genevieve High School and their fearless leader, Mr. Gibson. They built a car which was driven by Mr. Gibson's brother, Jeff, and this car won a feature event and trophy on a Friday night at a Doe Run Raceway event. So it was pretty exciting. Congratulations to Abby Stolzer, who made the all-district choir this year. Head girls track and head cross-country coach, Brian Jett, who will be inducted into the Missouri Track and Cross Country Coaches Association Hall of Fame. The ceremony will be on Friday, December 11th at the MTCCCA Coaches Clinic in Columbia, Missouri. Congratulations to Trey Humphreys and Daniel Bates for being selected to participate in the 2015 Mississippi Lime Internship Program. And finally to me for successfully reading this brilliantly on my behalf.
Good job.
It probably would have been better if I had my glasses on.
How exciting is that?
Yes.
Oh,
It's a great time to be a dragon.
loyal and true.
Next.
Good evening, everybody. In the middle school, it's been fast and furious. We are continuing some action research with the Leader in Me program and the 7 pillars from that program that the elementary started. We kind of grabbed onto their coattails and been hanging on, and Ms. Giesler's kind of leading the way, and it's really turning out well. The people who are involved in it are really on board. You'll see kids outside classroom doors greeting other students as they're walking in and really taking ownership of it. So I really look forward to when we get these kids that have been trained 2 and 3 years in the elementary up in our building, and they're already going to know what to do. So that's been going well. We put together a positive climate committee. Mrs. Kelly Jokers is kind of the head of that committee, and it's just to promote positive things that teachers and faculty members and staff can do with one another. We had a hayride. Thanks to Amy Meyer and her husband for giving us the tractor and the trailer. Started out at Midway and went around out in there, and dinner afterwards on October 4th. All the teachers got together and wore their black St. Genevieve Middle School shirts to support the volleyball team on September 14th. And then we just got done having a tailgate at the football game, the last football game that we had. Teachers showed up, and I think they did a tunnel and all that stuff. I don't know if any of you were there, but I was down talking to Mr. Marzuko, and Andrew got to go and be a water boy and got to run out on the field and grab the tee, and he had a ball as well. So, sports, we finished up middle school volleyball and middle school football. Our 7th grade volleyball team ended up 16-1, first place in the Jefferson R7 tournament, conference champions, and 2nd place in the conference tournament. 8th grade got 4th place in the 28th annual St. Genevieve 8th grade volleyball tournament, and ended up getting 1st place in the conference tournament. So they really turned it on at the end. Football, 7th grade had an undefeated season, 6-0, and 8th grade improved from last year and ended up 3-3. So a lot of positives there. Cross country is going to finish up this weekend in Herculaneum. NJHS induction was September 20th at the PAC. 13 8th graders were inducted: Katie Beck, Cassidy Bonert, Alexis Bova, Wyatt Boyette, Ayana Evers, Marissa Gegg, Jada Greminger, Cody Hatfield, Kyle Kiefer, Julia McClin, Logan Foff, Ella Reed, and Gracie Robinson. Mrs. Fowler was honored as the Teacher of Honor for all she does, not only in NJHS, but as a teacher as well. And then Mrs. Giesler was honored as Staff Member of Honor, kind of for the same thing. She's over the top enthusiastic and will do anything to support kids. Homecoming, kudos to Mrs. Janet LeClaire for kind of filling in with the cheerleading sponsorship this year and having a successful homecoming assembly on Friday, October 2nd. We had great spirit participation all week, ending with a fun-filled assembly, acknowledging sports teams, having games, and pies in the face for some middle school buddies. Just a couple things, and then we'll go back to homecoming for a second. Mr. Oldham had a video conference with some Greek students. He hooked up on Google Circles with a lady that teaches in Greece. They're about 8 hours ahead of us, so he asked for students' participation in coming in at 6 a.m. one morning and video conferencing with a classroom in Greece that was a mixed middle school, high school classroom, because they would be getting out of school as we were just arriving to school. So I popped in at 6 a.m. and of course there's 34 kids in the room and they're all standing in front of the screen, and it starts out with, you know, look at her, she's cute, and then they start back. But they did talk about some educational stuff as well, and I kind of hinted to some of them, and they started getting into the historical aspects of our community. And they wanted to, one of the questions that they asked I thought was insightful was, why do you have a French name for your community? So there was some educational stuff that happened. He's planning on doing it again with Korea, Mexico, and I think there's one more, Italy. But seeing 34 kids show up at 6 a.m., badgering their parents to bring them in so that they can be here. And then they brought pillows and blankets and just hung out until school started. So it was really, really neat. Our featured teacher staff member of the month is Teresa Sedgwick. I don't know, you probably all know Mrs. Sedgwick. She's quick with a smile and quick with a hug. She's always happy, ready to give hugs, cares about kids. Truly a veteran here at St. Genevieve Middle School, and I don't know where we'd be without her. A lot of kids really rely on her for her undying support of them. I didn't know how I was going to finish, and I don't know if I'll make it through this without getting upset, but this highlights where we work and why this is such a great district. Homecoming week is fast and furious, and at times teachers tend to feel overwhelmed, and can't I just teach? Do I have to go do this? Do I have to go do that? And you know, it's understandable. I was there once, I understand where they're coming from. This is from one of our teachers in our district, not in my building. So I'm kind of patting the high school on the back here. I think the advisory teachers were to go out somewhere and do a selfie of them and their advisory class, and then they were having a selfie contest. So this teacher, in the middle of homecoming week, being inundated with everything that we have to do during homecoming week, not to mention teach, sent out this email after advisory. I'm gonna have to put my glasses on. In the haste of homecoming week, I went on a journey, one that was dreaded, things needed to get done. There was no want to when I walked out of my classroom door. I'm not sure if it's the lack of sleep that comes with having a newborn added to an already full house, or the stress of homecoming, but this is what I saw in my 30-minute journey of doom. I saw the middle school out in front of their building, cheering and chanting with real, authentic pride. I heard them sing the alma mater as if they already understood how lucky they are to be part of such a great school and such a great community. I saw seniors and juniors working together with freshmen to organize beautiful pictures to help raise awareness for an unbelievably worthy cause. I saw teachers decked out and over the top in pink stand in front of their classrooms in outfits they would be laughed at and mocked if they wore them on the streets, have a room full of kids at 100% attention. I saw a wheelchair-bound kid fly a kite for the first time in adapted PE, and you would have thought that a door to a whole new universe just opened for him. I saw awesomeness. Shame on me for dreading any part of this amazing job. Happy homecoming, everybody. That's where we work, and that's where we live. That's awesomeness. So, thank you.
Thank you. Wow, that's kind of hard to follow. I'll try. Well, since we last met, we've been very busy at the elementary too. So we're doing some of our regular things like our birthday books and our brag and dragon, and that's very exciting, and the kids love it every week. We've started a St. Jen faculty shout out board that is just stuffed full all day with staff members like saying kind things and paying it forward to other staff members. And we've decided we need to sharpen our saws a little more, so we've been decorating our lunchroom with themes, usually pretty silly themes, and our social committee is trying to plan an event a month. So we've got some things underway that we're working on to keep our saws sharpened and synergize a little. Our grade level teams did a great job the last month working on their student learning objectives. So they've got their SLOs written and about to give them, and they really worked hard because we really had not done a lot of that legwork till this year. So they really joined together and worked great. We've had MRI grade level trainings in all grades, and Mr. Kertoy, our trainer from Potosi, did a special training for our new teachers, Lori's new teachers and my new teachers, to get them up to speed a little bit on guided reading, and they just loved it, and he said they were like the best group he's ever had. They were just enraptured all day long. We've been trying to get more googly at the elementary. We've been doing some trainings with Nancy and doing some in-house training. Those that are a little bit more advanced with it than the others are helping everybody else, and we're trying to get as googly as the middle school and high school are. So as far as the kids go, they're still leading the morning announcements, and they focus on a habit a week, and they write them themselves, and it's just endearing, the examples that they come up with, how they're living the habits. And next week, 3rd grade is taking it on, and they're writing these cute little scripts and role playings, like little mini plays to do in the announcements in the morning. So they've taken off with that like crazy, and they love it. Our staff is continuing our Leader in Me journey too. We divvied up how to do a book study. So at every faculty meeting, a different grade level or subject level leads a book discussion, and so we're talking about reading it and talking about it, and that's going very great. September 16th, RTI took off. And so we've had a full round of it, and yesterday and today we did our first data team meetings, and we looked at all the data and moved the kids around to their targeted intervention groups, and going very nicely. So we're happy with our RTI progress, and our MRI trainer thinks we're right on track with that too, so that's reassuring. The kindergartners went to Eckert's and picked apples. That was great. The PTA had 2 different black light dances, and I use the word dance loosely. It's more like run around in the dark and scream. It was a lot of fun. And so we ran around in the dark and screamed on 2 different occasions and had a huge turnout, and the kids were all decked out in glow sticks, and I learned to do the nay-nay and some other line dances. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We're looking at ways to have the students do more leadership. So our green team met, and we're initiating a student green team, and we are posting applications for it, and they may apply, and we're interviewing them. Mrs. Bowman and myself and Mrs. Barr are interviewing them, and we're going to have like student leaders for recycling, as well as our CAP program and our Crayola marker program. So we're kind of letting the kids take care of getting that done. And we're looking at some student greeters for conference night this week, some kids who can stand and greet at the front door and say hello to folks. So we're trying to find more and more ways to have our kids be the leaders. We had a fun family fun night on September 24th with kindergarten, if you give a mouse a cookie. So I read the story, and then there were stations and hands-on activities. Good turnout. The Little Gems performed at the varsity football game on September 25th, and also the Emeralds and the cheerleaders and the band came and did a great pep assembly for us on homecoming. So we had a good time with that. We had a great MU Safety Day for 5th grade. That was a new event. It was out of Bloomsdale Elementary. We collaborated with Lori, and the MU Extension came to Bloomsdale, and despite the rain, it went great. They set up 6 stations, things like lawnmower and ATV safety, staying home alone safety, electrical, first aid. Do you remember what else were there? Were 2 more stations.
Chemical line.
Yeah.
The hospital.
Mm-hmm. And it was awesome, and they got to go around from station to station, because that's the age kids are when they start to ride ATVs or mow the grass or stay home alone, and they got a goodie bag of stuff. So we loved it, and we're going to do it again next year, we think. So we had a Student of the Month luncheon on September 30th. It was also a big day because it was our preschool open house. We had a good turnout, and quite a few, I think almost every parent came, and several other community members who wanted to check it out. So we had a good time that night. Then we opened our preschool on October 5th, and all in all, it was a good day. I don't think we would ever serve ravioli again. You know, just a thought. Hang on for that. By and large, yeah. We're doing better with the dumping the trays, and we've had a good learning curve on that. But really, red sauce isn't so great for 3 and 4 year olds. We've had vision and dental screenings and a lot of firefighter work with Fire Safety Week. The kindergartners have a big production where all the emergency vehicles come and there's a smokehouse and they go in it all. And so that occurred and the first graders went down to the fire station. Fifth grade had a big day on October 12th when Mrs. Lurk returned from her maternity leave and Mrs. Brewster returned as Mrs. Mudd. So there was a lot of celebrating in that classroom that day. And overall, probably only other big thing is today was our day where we appreciated the bus drivers, and St. John Elementary took them out donuts and coffee creamers and fancy mochas and all kinds of things, and they seem to love it. And our book fair is going on right now, and we have a neat program called All for Books where the kids bring change, and then Scholastic matches it, and we buy books for other students, schools in need. And it's only the second day, and we've already raised like over $120 of just spare change. So the kids are being very generous. So,
All right, that's good.
Okay, at Bloomsdale Elementary, I'm just gonna say ditto to 95%.
we should just go back and forth.
We did everything she did, MRI, RTI, we had teachers meeting, Ag Safety Day, new teacher training for guided reading. We did have third grade Grandparents' Day. We had 62 parents come. We had fourth grade readers do Constitution Day. They read something on the intercom about Constitution Day. We had new student donut celebration with Miss Huffman. We had Boy Scouts come out and go to each classroom and try to get Boy Scouts recruited for the Boy Scouts. Kindergarten went to Eckert's Orchard. We started DARE program in 5th grade. She did that too. I'm just filling in what she did.
And Officer Clark's teaching it.
Yes, Officer Clark is teaching hers
That's
in
new.
10. We have Officer McCarty teaching ours out there at Bloomsdale. Preschool open house went great. We only had like one parent not show up for open house, and then the beginning of preschool has been really, really smooth. I mean, Nicole Shank is doing an awesome job, and her teacher's aide, Rebecca Callahan. They're doing great with those little 3 and 4-year-olds. And it's been a wonderful addition to the building. They've had some big kids help them with things, so the bigger kids are noticing and they're excited about having little kids in the building. And then we had an awesome talent show, which I wanted to thank 3 of the board members for being judges, Martha Riesinger, Terry McDaniel, and Rick Rudloff. They were judges. We had everything from gymnastics to singing, dancing, playing guitars, riding scooters. It was amazing.
It was middle school, wait till next year, and these kids, I'm telling you, those kids were amazing, their voices, they're amazing, they're gonna have the best choir ever.
And Mr. Kingery and Ms. Leonard and Ms. Carlson helped put that on. They did an awesome job with that. And Teacher of the Month this month was Ms. Nelson. She's always there. She works really hard. She's always trying to find new ideas. She's always helpful to her co-workers. So they nominated Teacher of the Month, and it was Ms. Nelson. And then Staff of the Month was Betty Barr. She does an amazing job. She takes great pride in her work, and our building looks awesome because of it. So that's Bloomsdale Elementary.
You guys, this is what it's all about, isn't it? To be a dragon. Absolutely, absolutely. Oh, thank you guys so much for that, that was wonderful.
The only thing that is left under report the superintendent, safety reports. Dr. Cook?
Yes, last Wednesday, October 14th, we had an incident, kind of, a drill. We don't know what else to call it, so we're calling it a drill. It really, truly was a great drill, but it's nothing that we'll ever plan to do. So, you know, it was just that time of day. So what happened was this summer we trained some teachers and local law enforcement and held the ALICE active shooter intruder training here on campus. So we have a team led by our school resource officer, Christy Clark, who are trained to do that. We held our active shooter training here on campus on September 4th at our in-service. And Christy and I had gone and talked to Dr. Gilligan to offer the training to him for free because, you know, we want to help each other out. So Valley took us up on that offer, so on October 14th, Christy and her team went to Valley Catholic at around 1 o'clock. And they were doing the active shooter training with the staff. One of the trainers is Jason Bowman. They didn't have enough radios down there, so he took 4 of ours. And we have a channel that's not used by anyone on this campus, so he used that channel. But the newer radios have a feature where you can scan all channels that are on. And what happened, and, you know, we didn't know and we didn't think of it at the time. What happened is they were conducting the training at Valley Catholic about the time that we let our middle school and high school kids out. Our elementary students were all pretty much on the bus and they were ready to go because they get out 5 minutes early. So what happened is they started the active shooter training at Valley Catholic. A few of the radios up here that were on scan caught it, and the message was there's an active shooter at the high school. That's all they came across. Some people heard it once, some people say they heard it twice. The person that gave the call didn't identify themselves. They didn't have any information other than that. So the people that received that message immediately went on lockdown and announced that there was an active shooter. And so it was mainly at the elementary where they heard it in the office. They did everything they were supposed to. The whole elementary went on lockdown. And it mainly affected our teachers, our staff members, and mainly their children because everyone else was outside of the building. Oh, and
Our Dragon's Den.
Our Dragon's Den and our little kids who get picked up by brothers or sisters at the flagpole. So they were on complete lockdown. The other buildings did not hear that. So as Mrs. Giesler's coming down to bus duty, she hears it, calls for help on the front of the building, front of the high school. So out comes Mr. Mercer and Mr. Haney, and they're like, what is going on? So she relayed what she had been told, and they're like, no, everything's fine in there. And then they put it all together that it must be coming over from Valley, so they worked to get that information immediately. Got confirmation that yes, they had just put that message out at Valley, that everything was fine here. It must have bled over on the radio. So they quit using the radios, and we're not gonna do that again. But what they did in the high school is they knew something was going on in the front, so the staff immediately came up while Mr. Haney and Mr. Mercer were out and cleared the students and pulled them back and secured them in classrooms. Kind of the same thing for the middle school, pulled them and secured them, did everything they were supposed to with the information they had. So I am just extremely proud of our staff members. Their training, they did everything by the book. Like I said, it's not a time of day that we'll ever schedule a drill. It was just really great training, but it's very unfortunate that it had to happen. You know, we did have a fire earthquake drill scheduled the next day and decided to cancel it because some of the little ones at the elementary were pretty upset. And we feel like, you know, we can do that at another time, so we'll schedule that later.
About how many minutes you think was, didn't know what was quite going on?
Beth said it lasted like 10-20 minutes, but
Right.
really, I think it was a minute and a half is what
Yeah.
she said.
It
From
seems
the
to go
time
on
she
and
Before
on.
you figured it out, like, wait a minute.
It's pretty fast, I feel.
Yeah.
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 It always feels longer whenever you're in it and you're trying to get everything done,
It was
so.
a minute and a half, I mean, everybody reacted just.
Yeah.
And then it took a while to kind of go through and sweep the building and you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
kind of, make sure that everyone knew that it was what it was, as opposed to, you know, a real intruder of some sort. So, it took a while to get through that process.
I was gonna add, it was interesting, they did an all-call once everything was calm and they were trying to get the buses loaded and to go. None of the students came that they'd missed a bus. They waited there even after the buses left. As far as we know, every student got on their bus and went home, so that was a good thing. But, you know, it really was a great training. I talked to Dr. Gilligan, you know, they've apologized, and I'm like, it's not your fault. It is what it is, and we're all safe and everybody's fine, and it was a training, so.
Does anyone have any questions or comments they want to add to that? Okay, you guys are finished. We'll move on to unfinished business, instructional program presentation from the gifted.
Good
evening. For those of you that don't know, I'm Maggie Cook. I think most of you know me. Keep the camera. Really? I am the gifted teacher for the district now. From elementary to high school has been combined. Currently, I am servicing 53 students from grades 3 through 12. We have 23 in the elementary, 23 in the middle school, and 7 in the high school. Overall, the district, we have 83 students identified, and again, I'm servicing 53, so only 30 are out. Most of those being high school students that truly just can't fit it into their schedule anymore with their higher, their weighted courses, their CP courses, and other electives that they choose. I also work with about 15 second graders. They are not identified yet, but they are the higher ability students that we work in an enrichment program that I see once a week for about 120 minutes, or however we decide to break it up. It changes year by year. Building population changes year by year too, as far as how, last year I was in Bloomsdale 3 mornings a week. This year I'm 1 morning plus enrichment, and so it just varies on the numbers per building. Middle school and high school, I have 1 hour a day, every day of the week. So I have 5th hour is high school, 6th and 7th hour is middle school combined 6 through 8. And this year, all students this year were participating in a program called Destination Imagination. It's a great program. I've done it in years past, and I've only done it with elementary students, mainly because that's where I was. And so this year's is a little different because I'm going to have actually 8 teams. The teams are made up of 2 to 7 students per team. And at the beginning of the season, they choose the challenge that they're most interested in. It's project-based, and they go from start to finish with the entire solution of a program. There are 7 challenges. We've, as a group, have narrowed it down to 4. By that, I mean that's how they voted on what they wanted the most. So this year we're doing a technical challenge, which the students are challenged to build a vehicle that has to transport a person across a presentation site. They have to create propulsion systems, movement methods, then they have to create a story, a skit, props, backgrounds, everything, and all of it has to tie in together. Then there's the structural challenge, where they are designing and building a structure to support weight, and that brings in your physics and building and math and all that. And this year the twist is that their structure has to be also a musical instrument. So that one's coming out to be quite challenging. But they also have to present a story, props, costumes. Each challenge has that fine art component to where everything has to tie in, and they have to write a skit, perform a skit, and make their own costumes, make their own backdrops, everything that goes with it. Then I have a team that's doing the scientific challenge, and then another team, or 2 teams doing the fine art challenge, which the scientific is about camouflage and camouflage methods and how it's applied in nature, and their story has to include all that. And then the fine art is based on a mystery. They have to write a mystery, research a time period, and go through the whole story writing, and again present their skit. So that's the 8 teams through elementary and middle. And then high school, they're working on independent research projects based on what their interests are. We went through interest inventories. We went through, research based on things that they're most interested in. And when we tie all that together, we'll do their culminating activity will be a service learning project based on the project that wins, I guess, they'll all have to present their own project and explain why theirs should be the one that we go forward with and compete with, also at Destination Imagination. Throughout the program, there are tournaments. There are 3 tournaments. The first one is a regional, and that's in March. We'll compete at St. Charles Community College. And then, should we place there, we go to state. State is in Joplin in April. And should they place there, which I have a couple teams already claiming we are going to globals this year. So get ready. And then global finals, those are in Knoxville, Tennessee, and those are held in May. And there are people from all over the world that participate in that. So that's where we're going this year.
Oh, just to hear what they all have to say, they'll be there.
Yeah, exactly.
Just to hear what our principal said, they'll be there.
It's amazing when you see them just come up with their own brilliant ideas.
Thank you so much.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. I have nothing on new business. Oh, Mr. McDaniel.
I move that the Board of Education hold a closed meeting with a closed record and a closed vote following the regular open meeting on November 17, 2015, to be held in the R.W. Thomas Library, 715 Washington Street, St. Judith, Missouri, for the purpose of discussing and voting upon the following items of business: legal action, causes of action, or litigation; lease, purchase, or sale of real estate; hiring, firing, disciplining, or promoting particular employees; proceedings involving the mental or physical health of an identifiable individual; scholastic probation, expulsion, or graduation of identifiable individuals; testing and examination materials; welfare cases of identifiable individuals; preparation for negotiation with employee groups; software codes for electronic data processing and documentation thereof; specifications for competitive bidding until approved or published; sealed bids and related documents until the bids are open; sealed proposals and related documents until all proposals are rejected, or any documents related to a negotiated contract until the contract is executed; individually identifiable personnel records; performance ratings or records pertaining to employees or applicants for employment; records protected from disclosure by law; scientific and technological innovations in which the owner has a proprietary interest; records relating to municipal hotlines established for reporting of abuse and wrongdoing; confidential or privileged communication with an auditor; operational guidelines, policies, and specific response plans for preventing or responding to a critical incident; existing or proposed security systems and structural plans of district property; a portion of a record that identifies security systems or access codes; records that identify and would allow unauthorized access to or unlawful disruption of the configuration of components or the operation of a computer system, computer network, or telecommunications network; credit card numbers, personal identification numbers, digital certificates, physical and virtual keys, access codes, or authorization codes are used to protect electronic transactions. I further move that notice of this meeting as tentative agenda be posted as required by law.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call. Eric Bosser.
Yes?
David Bova.
Yes.
Charles Crowder.
Yes.
Joan Dunphy's absent. Terry McDaniel, yes. Martha Reesinger.
Yes.
Rick Rudolph.
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0.
Move to go to closed session and close record and close vote after a short break.
Second.
A motion and a second, all in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.